Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your girl, Politically Diamond, coming to you on this cold Tuesday morning, honey. Listen, I just went outside and it's so cold out there. I don't even want to go out there to go to work, but I got to later on. Luckily, the sun will be up when I go out there to go to work, so it won't be as cold. But right now, if you're waking up, if it's nighttime, if it's still dark where you're waking up at, listen, put on you about 5 jackets because it's cold out there. So it's a lot of stuff going on. Excuse me, I got this little cold. Okay, it's a lot of stuff going and I've been doing some research on this incident that I saw. Now, it was a plane crash. Okay, I don't know how to get this on my screen. It was a plane crash with a lady named Tara Arnold. Okay, she's from Texas. She's married to a high profile lawyer, a lawyer with a lot of accolades. He's won a lot of trials, a lot of cases, and I'm talking about some big money cases, okay? Um, so let's get into it because I've been doing some research and I'm discovering some things that is all public information. If you start researching, you'll find it. And it's a little suspicious. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, in these days, you can't put anything past anybody. Okay, people are backdooring people. People are being married to people, and they're really not there to love. They're really there to benefit. Okay, and we getting a lot of this. We seeing a lot of this. So let's get into what I found. Now, let's talk about Tara, the victim. So Tara, her name is Tara Arnold, okay? She died in a plane crash with about 5 of her friends, right? So her and her friends were going over to Paris. Her and her friends was some articles say she was going to a girl's a girl's trip, and some other articles say she was on a business trip. So, one thing I've learned that when something happened and different articles come out, when they start giving different information, give me 1 minute, y'all. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, hold on. All right, I'm sorry. I got this cold and I don't want to be hawking up in y'all face and stuff and in y'all ear. All right, so let's get into the details of this. But like I was saying, one thing I've learned is that when something happened and it's fresh, yeah, it might be some discrepancies, but as time go on and more articles are put out and facts are changed and one article say one thing, another article say another thing, my antennas automatically start going off, okay? And this is what's happening with this situation. Now I initially saw this on Daily Mail, and then I started doing some research. And as I started doing research, I'm like, oh, okay. And it's a few things that I'm going to talk about that made me really pay attention. It's certain keywords, okay? Just like the algorithm these days, anything that you do on a computer, certain words that you put in will trigger different things. You do job applications. If you don't have certain keywords, your application don't even go through. Okay? So as we go through this, I'm gonna talk about some of the keywords that got me suspicious. All right, so let's talk about the incident. Now, Tara and 5 of her friends were on a plane. This is what we know, a private jet, okay, that is registered to her husband's company. Now, her husband is a high profile lawyer. She's a lawyer too, okay? The jet that she died in is registered to that company. All right. Now, her and some friends was on there. They were coming from Houston on Sunday. Now, I got my notes, so you're going to see me looking away as I read my notes because it's a lot of information. So I'm going to take my time. Now, her and her friends were flying from Houston on Sunday. They landed, they stopped over in Maine to gas up and de-ice the plane at about 6:09. Okay. So they say that they were refueling and doing ice removal before heading across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. Now, some of the audio that they're putting out, you can hear the dispatchers communicating with like the pilot from the plane, and the pilot is reporting low visibility. Okay. Now we all know that it's cold. We know that it's ice, and it gets very dangerous. Okay. And we learned this from Kobe and his daughter. That they flew in a helicopter in low visibility, crashed into a mountain, but then it came out later that the pilot was on some drugs. Peep that. It's always something. All right. So we already have ice, we have snow, we have low visibility, but they still going. All right. Now, mind you, Tara is a lawyer. Okay. Her husband is a high profile lawyer. Now, Tara litigates for oil rig disasters. That's the first key word that got my attention when I saw oil. Anything now in 2026 where I see the word oil that has anything to do with oil, okay, and high profile people and lawyers, I am automatically suspicious. When I learned about the oil that she worked with, that's when I started really looking into this. Okay. So they're reporting that a witness reported seeing the plane take off, then crash back down. It didn't get up in the air. It attempted to take off, then crash back down after they de-iced the plane. After they refueled, they tried to take off. All right, that's what the witness saying. Now, we're waiting on video because we know it's cameras everywhere. The only information that I have on videos right now is a door cam that caught the sound of the boom when the plane exploded, but it didn't catch the plane exploding. And see, now that's another discrepancy. They're saying the plane fell and exploded, but it's a report that the plane veered to the right, going at 175 miles per hour, and flipped and exploded. So it's like, okay, did the plane go up, fall back down and explode, or did the plane veer, flip over, and explode? Okay, on the picture, you can see some smoke. You can see the tires upside down. You can see the plane upside down. You can tell it was some fire. I don't know about when I hear explosion. We have seen plane crashes that's involved in explosions. I'm talking about as soon as they hit the pavement, they explode. Okay. So now they're saying the temperature was just 1 degree Fahrenheit at the time of crash, and they had 6 to 8 inches of snow in the area. So it was very, snowy. Now, less than 10 minutes after the tower cleared the plane for takeoff, somebody shouted, "All traffic is stopped on the field." Now, if you in aviation, you may know what that means. Okay, I'm a little confused on that part, but that's what they're saying. Now, minutes later, another controller could be heard saying that it was an aircraft upside down. We have a passenger aircraft upside down. Now, just to back this up a little bit, like I was saying, Tara was a lawyer, her husband is a lawyer. Tara litigates for oil rig disasters. Her husband litigates for aviation disasters, okay, and disasters at companies, explosions, different things like that, or if a product is made and it's dysfunctional, something like that, and people want to sue, that's who they go to. They go to her husband. Now, what got me, okay, was the whole aviation litigation lawsuit that the husband does. And the wife just got into this plane crash and died. Now, um, let's see, let me read from now, this is something that got me, this is one of the things that got me suspicious. At first, it was reported that it was 8 people that died on the plane. And then they came back and later said it was less people. Now, they looked at the plane logs, okay, and they saw discrepancies in the numbers. It's always these discrepancies. It's like the story always changes as time go by. All right. So they were saying that it was one crew member that survived, and that was suspicious to me because most of the time when these plane crashes happen, everybody dead. Okay. Now, this is the thing too. Now, remember I say her husband does aircraft litigation. When an aircraft goes down, if an aircraft malfunctions, they go to her husband, okay? Now, on their webpage, for her husband's law firm, because she works for her husband's law firm, her husband, and he has a partner, all right? Her husband is Kurt Arnold, and his partner is Itkin. I got his name. His last name is Itkin. Now they have a law firm, and when I get into their credentials, oh Lord, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what they got going on? So on their web page, they had a section in there where they talked about their expertise in aviation litigation, but after the crash, they quietly removed that from their web page. Why would you do that? Why would you, out of everything on your web page, why would you remove that after your wife dies in a plane crash? Because it's already suspicious. Your wife that works for oil rig litigations, keyword oil, Trump, Venezuela, all these places, it's gonna play a big part. Okay. Husband, aviation litigation, but they removed that. All that's suspicious. Okay. Now let's get into Tara's background, because Tara deserves for us to know who she is. She has kids. She was a wife. She was a daughter. She was a mother. And we deserve to know Tara's background. We're breaking this all down. This is a part of the investigation. All right. Tara was a commercial lawyer, okay, for the oil rigs and stuff. She worked at her husband's law firm since it was founded in 2005. It's called Arnold and Itkin Law Firm over in Texas. Now, Tara earned her law degree from Tulane University in Louisiana. She majored, her mother, and it's all connected. And one thing I learned from Candace Owens is when you investigate people, investigate who their parents is, who their friends is, and who they work for, okay? Just like Erica Kirk, she's into the government thing, and then when you look into her mother is into the government thing, all right? Her mother was a personal injury lawyer. Now, mind you, her husband and his partner in a law firm where they got a lot of lawyers under them is into personal injury lawsuits. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that in a little bit, okay? All this stuff is tying together. Now, Tara graduated magna cum laude. Sorry if I say that the wrong way. From Tulane University. She started her career in an office in Texas that had a bigger office in New York. It was a big law firm in New York, but they had an office in Texas that she was working at. All right. She met Arnold, and she joined him. She joined his law firm the same year she met him. Um, the company profile described how she was passionate about helping victims of accidents on offshore oil platforms. Okay, like I say, that's where my suspicion started. She loved to travel and loved outdoor activities. She was an outdoor girl. All right. So let's get into Arnold, Tara and Arnold, what they had together. Now, they are known philanthropists to Arnold's alma mater, University of Texas. So they give donations, large donations to her husband's college that he used to go to, Texas University. They, along with Arnold's business partner and his wife, they donated over $40 million to the university athletic program. Anytime you start seeing these big donations to weird stuff, like they didn't say anything that he played like sports or anything. So why aren't they donating $40 million to an athletic program? All right. Now, I started researching the law firm, Arnold and Itkin LLP. Now, first I started looking up like if they had any complaints, because that's where I wanted to start my investigation. I found a few complaints, and as I read through these complaints, it was suspicious what these people were saying. So some of these complaints come from the Better Business Bureau, and some of them come from Reddit. Now, when I went on the Better Business Bureau website and I read some of the complaints, at the bottom it said that law firm, Arnold and Itkin, is not a part of the Better Business Bureau. And you know, when you really want to find out if a business is legit, you go on that website and you see if they're certified through the Better Business Bureau. Why isn't this law firm with these two high-profile lawyers not a part of the Better Business Bureau website and having a part of it accredited? So these are just a couple things that I was reading from some of the victims, the people that was working with her husband and his partner at that law firm. Okay, let's see. This is what was happening. When the victims win the lawsuit, they get told that since it's not a class action lawsuit, that the lawyers would have to now review their cases to estimate a direct settlement. Now let's break that down. Being that, give me 1 minute, y'all. All right, I'm back. So they're being told. So what happens? They go through some type of issue, all right, that they have to sue for. Then when they go through litigation and they win the money and they get sent to the lawyers tell them that since this is not a class action lawsuit, we now have to go back over it and estimate a direct settlement. So imagine now, we know how long these lawsuits take. These lawsuits take a long time, okay? You can be in litigation for years, all right? So imagine litigation is finally over. You need your money. You've been struggling because whatever disaster you got in, most likely you can't work or you had to stop working and you backed up and all type of stuff. So the money finally come through to the lawyers, and then the lawyers say, well, since this isn't a class action lawsuit, we have to now go back over this case to estimate a direct settlement. Right? Okay. So then they give them a time frame that they're going to call them back with the money, but these people say they're never hearing back from them. Okay. Example: one victim was awarded $88,000. Okay. Arnold and Itkin law firm split the money between 4 different law firms. Okay? When you get money, you don't want your money split between all these different people. 4 different law firms. Out of the $88,000, when they finally told her split, she was going to get $40,000. Okay? But then they told her that she had to wait another 2 years to get her $40,000, okay? And she says, it has been 10 years. Not only did she have to wait another 2 years, it has been 10 years and she has not gotten her money. Now let's recap. We got Tara Arnold, high-profile lawyer, married to a high-profile lawyer, dies in a plane crash on Sunday night. I started researching, found out that her husband specializes in aviation disasters, okay? And then we're going to get into what else I started finding out. So that's where we at. Now we at what the law firm got going on, okay? These are the complaints that I'm reading. This is why I initially got suspicious when I heard she worked for oil. She worked with oil. I don't care if she was doing oil litigation. That means she knows a lot, okay? Now, the woman said that Arnold and Itkin is working with another corporation. Now, the name of that corporation was like shaded out. The only thing that I can see is at the end of the name it says system. And I was trying to find out what may be this law firm, or you know how they have what is called when it's like a middle person that holds the money. I got it right on in my head and I can't even think about it. But sometimes when you win money from a lawsuit, they put the money into like this trust account for this third party to hold the money to make sure it's no like bad business dealings. But she's saying that they sent the money, that her lawyers sent the money to this other company that would do the payment, but were told it would take 3 to 4 weeks, and it's been 6 weeks. Okay, so these are different things, different complaints. And then when I go on Reddit, I see the same thing. I see they say they had this lawsuit, from work or something, and that the money they not getting answers about their money. They're waiting on their money, and the lawyers are not calling them back, and they're bullshitting. Okay. Now, I went on the law firm's page to do some investigation and look at who is on here, who's a part of this law firm, like the different lawyers, okay? And I was reading some of the testimonies. Now, what got me is, I know you need up-to-date stuff, but when you're a business that's supposed to be doing long-term things, you should have testimonies, old testimonies, to show people that you've been doing this, okay? All the testimonies on that law firm page were like up to date. The newest one was like from January 15th, okay? Now the first testimony, this was put up November 12th, 2025. All right, the first testimony was from a guy named Blake Deegan. He's an explosion survivor, okay? Um, he was involved, so-called involved, in a powerful explosion at his work site that he was 50 feet away from. All right, he said one moment he was working alongside his crew, the next moment he was surrounded by fire, chaos, and panic. So it was an explosion. He was at work, he was close to it, everything was fine one moment, chaos after that, okay? Blake says some of his co-workers, after the explosion, he witnessed some of his co-workers' masks melting into their faces, okay? Now, out of all this, he said their faces, their mask was melted to their faces. One guy had the fire had them burnt through his clothes and burnt them up. Now, Blake said he sued because when he was trying to escape, he twisted his neck trying to escape. Now, it didn't give how much money he got, but you would think this law firm that specializes in personal injury lawsuits, workplace lawsuits, and like they say, aviation lawsuits when planes go down. You would think their testimony would be somebody. It would have been the man that the mask melted on his face, not a guy talking about he hurt his neck. Okay, this is what I be thinking that a testimony is. So that was the first testimony. Okay. Now Blake say, and this is where it starts sounding so commercial. Blake say, I guess he went back to work after that. I don't know, but Blake say that his crew told him, "Hey, Arnold and Itkin, they're really good lawyers and they can help." It's like you've been through this major disaster and now you get back around your peers at work and they tell you, and multiple people tell you, "Hey, listen, look at this lawyers, they gonna help you." Okay. So I started looking at the founders and the supporting lawyers after I read like the testimonies and stuff. Okay. And this is where stuff kind of gets choppy. So after I started investigating Tara's husband, the lawyer, and his business partner, I found that the company was donating to a corporation called Texans for Truth and Liberty PAC. Now, let me tell you what Arnold and his business partner did. They created, so it's a committee over in Texas that is trying to do lawsuit reform. They trying to put a cap on how much money these lawyers can make through litigation, each lawsuit. Now, these two lawyers they are the top lawyers when it comes to how much money they're making. And I'm going to give you some estimates of some lawsuits that they won and how much you're going to be like, oh my God. Now, on the web's page, on all these articles, I see that these lawyers have earned millions and billions of dollars in lawsuits, okay? So they created this counter organization to Texans for Law Reform. They named it Texas for Truth and Liberty PAC, okay? Now, the law, like I said, the law reform was for them to put a cap on. But they came back and they say, no, we want to keep this going. We don't want to put a cap on how much money we can make because we're millionaires, okay? And we're earning billions of dollars. So that's suspicious. Now, Texans for Truth Liberty PAC was a political advocacy organization created to oppose George W. Bush's re-election effort in 2004. Now, I think that may be the Texans for that part. I got to look at again. I believe that's Texas for the reform. So, the Houston Chronicle reported complaints filed with the Federal Election Commission alleging violations of campaign finance laws. So let's get into what I found out about the husband and his business partner. Now, Kurt Arnold, which is her husband, that is over, he specializes in workplace litigation, aviation litigation, planes going down, planes malfunctioning. So they say he's won over $20 billion in law cases, okay? Good morning, honey. How you doing? Over $20 billion. He wins at least $1 billion per year in litigation. That's a lot of money. Hold on, y'all. All right. He wins $1 billion a year in litigation. That's a lot of money. Some of his biggest lawsuits, 17 million won on a case in Louisiana, 44 million won in a case in Hawaii, 125 million. These I'm just gonna run off some of the numbers. 125 million, 92.7 million, 90 million, 77.5 million. Okay? These are what he's winning. So if he's winning all this money, where do you think he don't want an organization coming through saying, hey, we want to put a cap on how much lawyers can make? All right? That's suspicious. He has an extensive, largest settlement record. He is, and this part that I'm about to tell you, keyword, trigger word, he is in the top 50 elite trial lawyers in the country. When you start hearing the word elite, think about Illuminati, higher ups, power, okay? That's what I'm getting from this. Now, let's get into his business partner, Jason Itkin. He's a co-founder, okay? This guy right here, oh my God. He won an $8 billion record-breaking verdict. $8 billion from Johnson and Johnson, okay? A $2.2 billion verdict against a company called Monsanto. I never heard of that, but I got to research it. $175 million product liability lawsuit, okay? Like I say, they go over products. If it's a malfunctioning product, they litigate over that. Fights for cancer patients, kids like on medicine, and won lawsuits, about to be a keyword, for BP oil spill. We keep hearing oil. The wife that is now deceased litigated on oil rigs. Her husband litigated aviation disasters, aka planes going down, planes malfunctioning. His business partner won lawsuits for BP oil spill. When you keep hearing oil, you need to pay attention. Okay? He was awarded Lawyer of the Year multiple times. Selected as a member of the, another keyword about to come up, inner circle of advocates. Think Illuminati, higher up, elite. Know things that other people don't know. Thank you for the hearts, baby. Know things that other people don't know. A part of scams. Okay? This is why, and let me give the shout out to Candace, because I already been finding things out about people around me that I gotta get into, and I gotta show them that I ain't about to. Well, dealing with Candace, I learned that certain things, when you start getting suspicious, just do some research. Start researching the higher ups, who's involved in this, and you will go down a rabbit hole, like Erica Kirk say. Okay, so this is why I'm up this morning, giving y'all this information, starting from an article I seen on Daily Mail. Just like Candace Owens say, she read an article from France for the Macrons. She just was in bypassing, read the article, and then start researching and find out that Brigitte is a man. Okay? So let's get back into this. Now, uh, he was selected to be a part of the inner circle before the age of 40, making him the youngest member. All right? He's married to Keisha Itkin. And for her to be a white woman, she got a black name. I just sidebar. And it's spelled Kisha. Her mama must have been from the hood. Okay? Keisha Itkin. Now, she's the president of Napa Valley's Theorem Vineyards and Theorem Ranches. Okay? Amen, sister. Please keep speaking the truth, sister. Thank you for sharing knowledge. No problem. See, you who I'm here for. People like you that want to hear this stuff, okay? So, okay. His wife is president of Napa Valley. Now, when I heard Napa Valley, I automatically started thinking of all the scandals we've heard coming out of Napa Valley. And one of the main ones was, what's Nancy Pelosi's husband? Paul Pelosi. I've heard Paul Pelosi got into things coming out of Napa Valley. Did you see Dixon Mayes is out of Super Bowl from torn hamstring? Okay, Napa Valley. Now, if I'm not mistaken, when Paul Pelosi was young, he had an older brother that was in the car with him, and they got in a car accident in Napa Valley, and the brother wound up dying. Suspicious details. That's just a sidebar. That's what I started thinking about when I read Napa Valley Vineyards. A lot of scandal there. I'm quite sure if I was to research the vineyards, I'll find a lot going on there. All right, now this is where it gets really suspicious. All right, are you Clipper blood? I'm Mama. I'm a part of Mom Gang. Okay, that's why I look like a stud, because I don't really do too much, and it's cold as hell outside. Okay, Mom Gang spends a lot of money on bills and things like that, and we don't really worry about, because my man in there sleep. He get up to go to work in a little while, okay? So I can look like a stud, because I could go in that room and get knocked down if I want to. Keep that in mind. Okay, just a sidebar, because these people be coming for me in the comments, and maybe God is working on me. I'm still a little petty, honey, and I can roast you real quick, sir. Don't get it twisted. Anyways, this is where I get real interesting at, okay? And this is why I'm doing this research, because I know it's something more to it. I know it's something that ain't right. Let's get into what old Arnold and old Jason Itkin is accused of doing. One moment. Okay. Now, mind you, they make money. They make a lot of money from these big cases. All right, let's go. Let's take detail by detail. They created an organization, Texas for Truth Liberty. All right. So what they did, they take the money from their law firm. The two founders created their own organization to keep the people that started the Texas for lawsuit reform, to keep them from putting into action, putting caps on how much money they can make from law firms. They say, no, we don't want you we don't want you stopping our bag. So what we're going to do, we're going to create our own committee, okay? Our own organization to counteract them, okay? And they named their organization Texans for Truth Liberty. Okay? So we got the Texans for lawsuit reform that's trying to put a cap. They said no. They created Texans for Truth Liberty. Okay? To stop that. Now, what they did, the money from their law firm, they took $10 million and they donated it to their own organization. When you look up on the internet who are their donators, just like we're hearing all these donators for TPUSA, I've learned that it's multiple. Thank you for subscribing. Yes, blessings to you too, honey. I've learned that you have to look into who's a part of the organization, how much the donors, who's the donors, how many, where are they coming from, how much are they donating. This organization is only one donor. One donor, two people that's under that one donor. And guess what? It is Arnold and his partner. They donated the 10 millions to their organization. How you do that? But I guess you could donate to your own thing, okay? Now, they're using that money to donate to Republicans in Texas that's like running for office or that's in office already, that can have direct effect on these laws. They can stop laws from getting passed. Laws like putting caps on how much they can make. Okay? They once funded, now mind you, this is where they started. Before they started donating to Republicans, Arnold and his business partner have always been Democrats. Now we know that Democrats is about helping people. Government funded programs, food stamps, Medicaid, housing. We also know that Republicans is like, get it on your own, okay? Get your ass out there and work and make this. We not giving you no food stamps. We not giving you no houses. We made this money ourselves, which they don't make. It's really scams, okay? So they once were Democrats, and they donated money to other Democrats in the Texas GOP, okay? But now that this whole law reform thing is trying to go through, they're donating to Republicans that can stop the law reform from going through. Think about what I just said. They used to be Democrats. They used to donate to Democrats. Okay, back up. Texas law reform, trying to stop how much money they can make. They said, no, we're going to create our own organization. Created their own organization to stop that, donated $10 million from their law firm to their own organization, and is now using that money to send to Republicans in the Texas GOP to stop them from putting through laws like the law reform, okay? The litigation reform. So they already switching up. Just like your friends. Give me one moment. All right, back to what we were saying. So we got them switching up, okay? They switched up on the Democrats, and now they going for the Republicans, even though they was representing Democrats. Now, we have this guy, Dick Weekly. He is the founder of Texans for Lawsuit Reform. So he's the one that started trying to put this whole cap on litigation because he says too much money being made through these litigations. Like every time a little thing happen, you know how it could be just a tap. So, two cars can collide. It could be just a little tap, and people be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you. My back broke, my neck broke, all that, my hip broke, and your car ain't did nothing but tap theirs." This is what he's trying to stop. He's trying to stop things like that. People making a lot of money from things like that. So that's why he created it. Okay. Hold on. What? All right, I'm back. All right. Now, Dick Wheatley, the founder of the Texans for Lawsuit Reform, says there has been an infiltration of trial lawyers in the Texas GOP politics. Now, when I read the word infiltration, I automatically started thinking about Candace Owens and how she say the church is being infiltrated with pastors that have military background and pastors that's not really there for the congregation and to preach the word of God. That's what I thought about when I read the word infiltrated. Okay. What?
Where's the governor? It's the cold standing outside.
Governor is right there. About whatchamacallit them house. Don't tell me it didn't pass. All right. Now, they're also saying, the guys saying they're pouring money into Republican primaries, not general elections. Large donations, and they're saying large donations started in mid-2025 and not earlier. And see, that's suspicious because just like I say, when I went on the law firm's webpage, all their testimonies was like very up to date. January, November, okay? And this is a law firm that's been going since 2005. You would think that they would want a few old testimonies to let people see that they've been doing this, okay? So he said that the large donations started mid-2025, not earlier. Now, when they were given, as Democrats, when they were donating money to other Democrats to control what was going on in the Texas legislation, they were giving some money. But now that they're donating to Republican GOP candidates over there in Texas, honey, they spending some money, honey. Yes. And see, the Trump states, the lamb who is becoming a dragon of the nation. Okay. Donations range from 5,000 to 100,000. Some lawmakers often receive checks from both Arnold and Itkin. So they're both sending donations to these different Republican GOP candidates, and sometimes more than one time. And some of the recipients are considered among the most conservative Republicans. Now, when we think about the word conservative means they're like kind of like Charlie Kirk, believe in wife, kids, wife cleaning, man going to work, no like food stamps, no government assistance, things like that. That's what you hear for conservative. So that plays into Tara's husband and his business partner, okay? They're trying to keep the lawsuit litigation reform from happening because they want to make unlimited money, because they want to live a certain lifestyle. So now they're donating to Republicans that is conservative. They don't want to give up no government assistance and things like that. So they're donating to them because their pocket's gonna take a hit, okay? Um, and they're saying that their money is linked to legislation dying out without a vote. They're taking legislations that's supposed to be put on the table and discussed and maybe some put through. They're stopping those before they even hit the floor. Okay? So let's really talk about it. Now that I gave you all the facts. So we got this lady that was involved in the plane crash Sunday night, her and her homegirls in the plane coming from Texas, stopped over in Maine to gas up, the fuel up, to remove the ice. Okay? They go to take back off. The plane, some people say the plane went up, crashed back down, and exploded. Other people are saying the plane veered and flipped, going 175 miles per hour. Okay? And then we research and we find out she litigates for oil rig litigation, but her husband litigates for aviation disasters. It's like, what's the coincidence of this lady dying in a plane crash and this plane's just falling out the sky? How many plane crashes have we witnessed, right, on the news where it's video of these planes just falling out the sky? And it's always these high-profile people, okay? It's always high-profile people involved. And sometimes it be their whole family. The whole family get wiped out. The mama, the daddy, the kids, they all getting wiped out, okay? And then you go and you do some research. Sometimes we do research, sometimes we just hear it, but it's just like this continuing thing that I'm starting to see. All these planes, all these people jumping from buildings. Like, what's going on? And I'm asking myself, is he, because we know that these people be involved in different things. Some of them be involved with the mafia. Some of them have gambling debts. They be living these secret lives, okay? And I feel like Tara's husband, by doing my research and seeing what he's involved in, is something more to this plane crash. Yes, it looks, because I know they set up, we all know that they can set up these things that you're going to believe. They always say a liar will use a lie they know that you will believe, okay? If your man say, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock I'm going to play basketball, when he going to cheat, he going to tell you, I'm going to play basketball at 5 o'clock, and you're going to be like, okay, there's nothing strange about that. But really, he's going to cheat. So, on the outside, it looks like, okay, it's just the plane, the ice, because I read that some type of chemical they use to de-ice the plane may have got into some of the components of the plane, and that's what made the plane, go down. But when you start talking about them donating money to Republicans to stop certain things and to stop them from making too much money from lawsuits, that becomes suspicious, because it's like, think about all the money that this lawyer, her husband, is going to make doing this lawsuit, because he's going to sue. He's going to sue the airport. He's going to sue the plane maker. He's going to sue whoever that pilot worked for. He may sue the pilot, even though the pilot dead. He may sue the pilot. He's going to sue a lot of people. And it's like, we done found out that sometimes these people do anything for money. They'll kill their own spouse for money. They'll kill their own kids for money. Look at this guy with the red hair that's in jail right now. Had the wife and the 2 sons, and he shot the wife with a shotgun and killed the other son with a shotgun for some money. These people are killing their loved ones, and that goes back to what I say about the people closest to you could be the ones that backdoor you because they know all your information. They know where you're going to be. They know what life you live. They know where you go. They know the car that you drive. They can rig anything up because they know. They're closest to you. Okay? And who's to say that this guy, oh, excuse me, that this guy has no dirty deeds? We already see that he has some dirty deeds. And how they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's a lot of smoke dealing with this. And I can only imagine it's a lot of fire. And I ain't talking about just the fire from the plane. Okay? I'm going to keep on looking at this. And because I'm quite sure more things going to come out. Because one thing I have noticed, right? When I originally saw the article on Daily Mail, they were saying certain things and had certain pictures. They were basically talking about Tara dying. They didn't mention some of the other people that was in the plane, but when I went back on, they had started putting pictures up there. They started redoing the article, and they was adding pictures, adding information, kind of changing it up in real time. Okay? So, yeah. I just want to talk about that. I've been doing that investigation, and it really surprised me. All right? So if I find out some more information, I'm going to come back live to you and let you know what's going on. You have a good day. Peace.